Hey guys, good morning. Roger Wakefield here, the expert plumber, coming to you to answer the question today, how do water heaters work? Now, believe it or not, we get that question a lot because people want to know what causes how's it work? What causes it to go bad? What causes it to quit working? But the thing is, first of all, you've got to know how it works. So we're going to start out with gas water heaters. Gas water heaters have natural gas that come in. They've got a burner box below a tank. Most tanks in Texas, or most tanks around here, are probably 50 gallons. There's some as small as 30 and 40, and as large as 75, 80, 100 gallons, but those are mainly commercial installations. Today, we're really going to talk about residential. Let's just talk about a 50-gallon gas water heater. So you've got a burner assembly on the bottom. You've got a tank above it that actually has a flue pipe right in the middle, or a flue, and the heat goes up through there. The burner assembly puts the fire right around the bottom of the tank. And guys, I've been to Bradford White's training facility, or not just their training facility, but their manufacturing facility. And it's really interesting to watch. It was such an amazing experience to see how they put these together and the quality control system's gone through. But the burner heats up the bottom of that tank. It's just like putting a pot on a gas stove. It heats at the bottom and that heat rises. Now, you've got a gas control valve there that also works like a thermostat to tell the burner assembly when to kick on, when not to kick on. That has to be changed out sometime, a gas control valve. Sometimes a burner assembly can have to be changed out. You've also got a thermocouple. A thermocouple is a great safety device, and that's just one of the safety devices there. Your thermocouple goes in to where your pilot light is, and your thermocouple is what is actually there that fire is burning. And what that does, the heat sends a little microelectronic signal back to the control valve to let it know, look, there is fire in there. And that way, when that gas control valve opens and sends all that gas in there to heat your water, and you hear that big whoosh, what happened is the gas control valve sent a signal to let it know, look, it's okay. It's a safety switch. So you've got your thermostat set hot, it burns, everything's good. Once it heats up to whatever you've got your control valve set, what temperature you've got it set at, then it'll cut back off. And when it cuts back off, that pilot light keeps burning. As long as that pilot light's burning, you don't have any problems, because every time your water heater calls for gas, it's going to go off. Now, out of the top of the water heater is your flue pipe. Your flue pipe needs to be unobstructed. It goes all the way through the roof. And what that does is that gets those gases, the burnt natural gas, gets those fumes out, so that we don't smell them, so that they don't kill us. Burn gas isn't good. So that's how a natural gas water heater works, by heating the tank just like a pot of water. There's a lot of different things that go through the system to make it work, but the very simple components are the burner assembly at the bottom, the control valve, and then really the only other thing you got is your TMP valve. Now, I mentioned two safety pieces. Other than your thermocoupling, you've also got a high limit switch that's down in your burner assembly. And if it gets too hot down there, this thing will kick off and shut your water heater down. But again, it's a good thing to have. There is a reset button on it that sometimes you can push right in the middle. It may have accidentally triggered. There could be something wrong. But guys, always check that out. That's one of the first things a good plumber is going to check out. So that's how a gas water heater works. Now let's talk about an electric. Electrics are a little bit different. You've got 240 volts coming in the top, so you can open up the lid there on the top, stick a voltmeter in there, and see what your volts are to make sure you've got what you need. From there, your electrical lines go down. They split off to thermostats and then go to elements. Your thermostat tells the element when to kick on and when to kick off. Your thermostat checks your temperature at the top and bottom. Some water heater types, or the way they're wired or set up, both elements may kick on at the same time, or they may go one and then the other, or it may just go by what's needed in certain areas of the tank. So the big deals about electric water heaters are the things that can go out are your heating elements and your thermostats. Now, again, you have a TMP valve on top of it, just like the gas water heater. It's a safety limiting device. If the temperature in there gets too hot, the pressure blows out, and it's set to relieve that pressure. That way your tank doesn't explode. If you ever have a handyman work on your water heater and he tries to plug that line, tell him no, that is not a good thing. So your thermostats, check your temperature. You've got a little dial indicator on it to where you can set that temperature. Manufacturer recommendation, I believe, is 120 degrees. Some people like their water a little bit hotter, so they'll crank it up. But remember, if you've got kids in your house, guys, don't turn it up where they can scald themselves. That is not something that's going to be good for you, for them, or anybody else. So the water has a dip tube, comes in the bottom. Your elements heat it up, and that dip tube's also on the hot water. I mean, on the natural gas hot water heater. The water, as it heats, rises. So when you draw hot water out of a water heater, it comes out of the very top. Thanks to Bradford White again. I've got a couple of water heaters back in the shop. We're going to set up and do some videos, and I'm going to actually show y'all the inside of a water heater. A lot of people have never seen the inside of it. I know a lot of plumbers that have never actually seen the inside of a water heater. And I've got a gas and electric, so I'm going to be able to show you both. You can come in, and it's a whole other video, but you can come in and check your thermostats. Like I told you can take off the top. You can check your volt with a voltmeter and determine your power to the water heater. If you've got an electric water heater, it's not working. That's always the first thing to check. So check your electrical coming in, check your thermostats, check your heating elements. You can check everything there and find out what's wrong with yours if it isn't working. But that's how they work. They kick on, they cycle, they keep your water hot. Now we're going to get into tankless water heaters. Tankless water heaters are quite a bit different. Number one, sorry about this, guys. Number one, that they don't have the thermostat in there. They don't need it because they're not trying to maintain a certain amount of hot water. What they're doing is they call for hot water on demand. So they've got an indicator there that literally determines flow rate. So when you call for hot water somewhere in the house, this indicator, the switch kicks on, triggers the burner assembly, and water goes through a heat exchanger. Now, whether it's gas or electric, there's either heating elements or there's a burner assembly that heat up super hot. A natural gas water heater has a tank type, runs on 40,000 BTUs thereabout. A tankless water heater draws in 199,000 BTUs. They don't go over 200,000 because then it would be considered a boiler. So you've got 5 times the gas heating and trying to heat water in this narrow pathway. And the more you turn that thermostat up, what it does is it slows that water down. That water heater stays in that heat exchanger longer so it can get to a hotter level. So if you crank your thermostat up to 140 degrees, what's happening is you're slowing down the water through the path. You slow it down, it heats to a higher level. There's so many things inside of a tankless water heater to make them safe. They've got fans to vent out or exhaust the vent or exhaust the gases. They've got fans that kick on before it even fires up. You've got all your gas burners in there. You've got your expansion tank. You've got chambers in there. Guys, tankless water heaters are fantastic. They're great ROI investments. You'll make your money back by what you save on not heating a tank full of water and keeping it hot all the time. The thing is, a lot of times you may have to change your gas. You may have to change a lot of things to get to it or to make it happen. When I say get to it, you may need a larger line to get to where your other tank water heater was in order to increase the amount of BTUs you can get. So tankless water heaters, tank water heaters, guys, it's a great process. It's a great system. It works really well. There's also solar, there's geothermal, there's a lot of different kinds of water heaters that you can get. Those are probably the 3 most popular types that we deal with here. And the other question that we get asked a lot, and this is like a bonus tip, is there anything I can do to make my water heater last longer? Guys, absolutely. If you've got a tank top water heater, flush it at least once a year. If you've got a brand new water heater, start flushing it every couple of months. Hook a hose up to the drain valve at the bottom, run it into a 5-gallon bucket every couple of months. That will keep the calcium, magnesium, and everything else from building up in the bottom of your water heater. It'll make it last longer, and it'll also help keep it at a higher efficiency rating. On a tankless water heater, and guys, this is the big deal. You're supposed to flush that every year with a chemical that cleans out the inside of it. That heat exchanger that I told you about is very narrow. If you've got calcium and magnesium building up on the inside of it, it restricts your flow path. If you've got a tankless water heater and you've got a faucet, whether it's a kitchen faucet or say a shower valve, you're not getting hot water there, but you're getting water everywhere else. Chances are your expansion tank in there, the water going through there is not getting hot because it's not moving fast enough to let it know to kick the burner on. It's just barely running. And that's either because your assembly in there is clogged, your aerators are clogged, and now you've reduced that flow restriction where it's not getting through there like it should, and it's not kicking on the tankless water heater. One of the first troubleshooting things I do on a tankless water heater is go through and pull aerators out, turn the faucets on, and see if I get hot water. Your tankless water heater gets flushed once a year with chemicals. Normally you want a plumber to do that because they've got the pump, they've got the right chemicals. They come in, they do it. Shouldn't be a mess, easy to do. Tank top water heaters, flush them at least once a year. But if you've got a new one, flush it every couple of months. You'll be really glad that your efficiency rating stays up and your water heater will last longer. My name is Roger Wakefield with Texas Green Plumbing. I am the expert plumber, and at Texas Green Plumbing, we're saving you money one drop at a time. Have a great day.